I really resonate with the grinding of the gears around the idea that equity is separate. I am asked to participate in so many projects, and increasingly in AI, as like, they have these spreadsheets and there's like the rigor line and the data line and the financial line and the equity line. And I'm like, no, like you've already lost. If you think equity is a separate thing, you're already, and so it's very hard to kind of figure out at what point you should try to remediate that or what point you should just try and not work with any of those projects because they're already a lost cause. And sometimes I get it right and sometimes I don't. But I very strongly agree that by the time that data is collected, um, a huge number of the choices that decide whose values and whose priorities are going to be baked into this evidence, like what numbers are going to come out, has already largely been decided, right? And so it's very nice to have like meaning making sessions with communities and interpretation and storytelling. That's a very nice thing to do, and I think we should do it. But it gives a false sense of community involvement because by then the evidence has been generated. I like to see communities involved as early as possible. And so we start every project with a funding web, an actual drawn picture of who's getting money, who's getting access to data, where's that data coming from, and who gets to make decisions. And I can share a link with you. My website is going through a little bit of a change in the resource hub, but it's called the funding web. So if it's not there, it will be there soon. Um, and so we start with the infrastructure, like the financial and decision-making infrastructure of a research project, because that is absolutely where the evidence, that's where decisions get made about what evidence is going to come. And then when it gets into data collection, we use a concept called a data relationship, which I'm sure is not revolutionary to any of you, but is surprisingly revolutionary to a lot of other people. um, where we focus on four elements in terms of the data relationship: who's getting paid to collect data, who's getting paid to contribute data, value, who's generating value from the way that that data is used, who gets to benefit from the way that data is used, profit, so who is gaining either money or brand recognition or knowledge from the continued use of data, and then ownership, who gets access to it, who gets to decide what kind of questions it's allowed to ask, that kind of thing. And then we help organizations. What we're trying to do is help organizations find ways to align what they want to do and what they're going to do, right? Because a lot of organizations are like, we want to be fair and community centered, but our practices are so extractive. They're so unfair. Like we let the communities have like one focus group that has no decision-making power involved in it at all. And we call it community centered, right? Like getting to express your opinion is not the same thing as getting to make a decision. And I mean, I think I hear consistently in the work that I do that, Black women in particular, because this is an intersectionality salon, are tired of having their opinions extracted rather than their decisions adhered to. And that is a huge difference in terms of what numbers are going to come out of a evidence generation process. That is not like a feel good statement. That is a scientific rigor statement.